Hello, my lovely soul, and welcome to Unstoppable Confidence. I am your host, Lauren Glick. I am here to bring you my energy, my motivational speaking, and me being a confidence mentor. My mission is to inspire women to own who they are, step into their higher selves fearlessly, and live a life with unstoppable joy. On this show, we are going to cover everything from aligning your life to your higher self, setting boundaries, self-growth, and living a purpose-driven life. Let's get you living a meaningful life you cannot wait to wake up to. Stop driving and start living with ease and abundance. Cheers to living a magical life. And I am so grateful to be on this journey with you. Now, let's head into today's episode. Hello, my love, and welcome to Unstoppable Confidence. Today, we have Molly Dare on air on Unstoppable Confidence. Her energy, motivation, and inspiration is like no other. And her story about entrepreneurship is a must listen to. So cannot wait for you to get on the other side of this episode, and let's get going. Hello, my lovelies. Today we have Molly Dare on Unstoppable Confidence, and she has a podcast on air with Molly Dare. So, Molly, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the listeners today. So, Molly, the mic is yours, love.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. So honored to be on your podcast, Lauren. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I'm Molly Dare, and that is my actual name. My parents did name me Molly Dare. I am the founder of Hillenbrand Media. We produce features and interviews on today's inspiring and impactful entrepreneurs, business owners, public figures, and celebrities. I also have a podcast called On Air with Molly Dare. Where I also feature women who are incredible entrepreneurs, have tremendous success, but also on their journey to get there, because I, like you, am inspired by hearing kind of the process and what the mindset shifts and the struggles and how they got through it, because then it makes you feel a little less alone. Yeah. And what you're going through, and like, oh, okay, I see this person achieving so much success. That'll never be me. I'm like, oh, wait, it can be me, because they went through what I went through. So that's really my passion, and my why is to inspire and to motivate others to pursue a life that they're passionate about as well.
I love that, Molly. So listening in right now, you've already found a really good podcast to go listen to for inspiration. And I think that is the most impactful part of this podcast as well, is that you get to find new avenues of inspiration. So thank you, Molly, for introducing yourself and being a part of that motivation for entrepreneurs, because it's not easy being an entrepreneur. There's ups and there's downs and there's twists and there's turns. Like yesterday, it was like, because to go on a little tangent, yesterday was really crazy for me. I have Airbnbs as well. And it was like this up and down yesterday. And it was like in the morning, it was like the worst day ever. In the afternoon, everything got cleared up and it was like the best day ever. So I'm like, oh boy,
that's both the pro and the con of entrepreneurship, right? Is that you never know what each day is going to bring. That's the excitement of it, but it's also the struggle with it. And I'm not only an entrepreneur, but I'm also a single mom of 2 teen girls. So my days are going to be unknown no matter what. We never know what we're going to get. So, you know, as you said, my day can start out really rough and then turn into like the best day ever, depending on if something really amazing happened, you know, at work. And, you know, I think one of the best qualities of entrepreneurs that I've noticed of people who really have had success is resiliency, and being able to not get stuck in the yuck of when you get, you know, sideswiped by something, or something happens that you weren't expecting, or it didn't work out the way you thought it was going to. That's okay. The best entrepreneurs that I know just keep going. Like, they don't like stay in that moment. Like, oh man, that's not going well, or that really sucks. I guess let's keep moving forward.
And that's a good question to really just lean into there, Molly, is that if something does happen to you, is there a way that you typically are able to get out of that funk? Or you're just like, F it, I just need to keep going. I mean, literally, sometimes that's what it takes, right?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot. I'm very careful, and I've learned to be very careful about what I allow into my mind, into my brain, who I surround myself with, what podcasts I listen to, what I fill my day with, and what I have little affirmations around my office, just like positivity, like you got this, quotes that I love. And then also my why. I have pictures of my kids. I have, just a reminder of why am I doing this, right? So when bad things happen and I'm like, oh man, poor me, the little bit of the victim mentality comes in, like, why me? I focus on my bigger purpose. What am I doing this for? How can I rethink that? What is the lesson learned from that going wrong? And how can I use that to apply to doing it different and better?
Ooh, I love that. And I just got the chills. I was like, God, I love this lady. Molly, that was so inspiring, because going back to your reason why is always really important. So, because I mean, unfortunately, there's just some people that are just not happy. And that's what happened to me the past couple of days. There was just somebody that you're just never going to please everyone. And really,
Nope.
You're just not going to please everyone. And somebody is always going to try to get at you if you can't. I know you're listening on in your AirPods, and I'm like doing this hand signal of like hitting a brick wall, but you're not going to please everyone, and there's always going to be naysayers. And I love going back to your reason why, because you're just going to run into that. And if you have the bigger purpose in life of walking through the crazy yucky times, to know that you are going to exceed and get on the other side of this bad moment. I love going back to your reason why, Molly. And you did mention.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we're not pizza. Not everyone's going to like us. Right. Yeah. And so it's like, that's what I always remind myself is like, listen, I'm not for everybody. None of us are. We're not built that way. Right. We're not built to be everybody's, pizza or avocado, whatever the thing is that you love. And so it's just important to remember, again, focus on who are you delivering your message for? We each have our own talent and genius. I truly, truly believe that there's not one person I've come across in life who does not have an incredible talent or genius within them. It's how can you use that to positively impact others? And when that is my focus and my why, and I'm looking at that, my target audience is who I care about and who I'm trying to impact. Everyone else is just noise.
I love that, because there is so much noise out there, and we get to surround ourselves with positive people. And Molly, this leads me to a great question, because you did mention that you have affirmations and quotes everywhere. And everyone knows, listening to this podcast, I am a quote nerd, and I absolutely love them, because we are what we think. And when we have positive affirmations around us, then that's what we become. So Molly, what is one of your favorite affirmations, quotes, to kind of help you switch that mindset to a more positive one if you're having a rough time?
A quote that I love that I say often is, you have survived 100% of your worst days. The odds are in your favor that you're going to survive this one too. And when you look back at that, you're like, you know what? I have survived a lot. Look at what I've come through. Look at what I've done. This is not, I got this, right? Yeah. The other one that I have, I'll give you two.
Okay.
The other one that I have that I say a lot is, you don't have the right to the cards you believe you should have been dealt, but you have an obligation to play the hell out of the ones that you're holding. And that reminds me that, to get out of that victim mentality, like, oh, look at what that person has in life and look what they got that came so easy to them. We all get dealt different cards. None of us get the same deal, but we have an obligation to make the best out of this life that we were given.
Ooh, I have never heard that quote, and I absolutely love it.
Good one, right?
That's a really good one, because you literally have no idea what. And it goes back to, I was watching. This is going to be a random like reference. I like random. Right now. Oh, this is so random. Have you watched the show on Netflix called Inventing Anna?
Not yet, but I'm very familiar with this story.
Oh my God, it's so crazy. And then I did research, and I was like, this person is real. And it goes back to, you can make, and I know it's like not a good reference to be like pretending to be somebody or not, but you are dealt with one situation in your life, and you can make whoever you want out of it. Like, even like inventing 100%. Inventing Anna.
That's the sequel.
I know. Could be the sequel. And that's just proof in the pudding. I love that quote. It makes so much sense of you're dealt the cards that you have, and you can make whatever you want out of life. And it goes back to your self-belief, your limiting beliefs, if you're able to get through those, and your confidence within yourself. So I really do like that quote a lot, Molly. Thank you for that. And then, sorry, I had to clear my throat there, press mute. So if we're talking about, because your background and starting from where your cards were dealt, how did you become an entrepreneur? Have you always been an entrepreneur? What was your start like for you?
Great question. My start was down on Wall Street, working, yes, which was, most people find pretty interesting.
Yeah. You couldn't see my eyes, but my eyes were like, Wall Street. Okay, girl.
Wasn't expecting that turn.
No.
No, I started out right out of college, working down on Wall Street, got a very swanky job, with a great paycheck, in New York City, doing what everyone thought was, the best thing to do and the right thing and the most amazing thing. I realized real quick that was not what was going to make me happy. And I was watching people making a lot of money and miserable because they were a slave to someone else's dream, and they were a cog in the wheel, just helping someone else get to whatever they wanted to do, and they weren't feeling fulfilled. I am not someone who should sit in a cubicle writing PowerPoints. Me neither. And that does not make me happy. I don't mind putting in the 18, 20-hour days that we were all putting in down there if I feel fulfilled and passionate and that I'm using my talents and gifts, right? Because that feels good. I was not doing that. I was helping someone else, reach their heights and fame, but I wasn't doing it for myself. And so I realized real quick, money isn't everything, first of all. And I don't want to be miserable like these people that I'm seeing every day. And so what am I going to do here? So I left that job, and much to the disappointment of many people in my life that were like, whoa, and I didn't even know what for. I just knew I had to leave. The week that I left, 9/11 happened.
No way.
And so, which is crazy. And, all my friends and coworkers were down there. The guy that I was seeing at the time, who I would eventually marry, was down there during that time. Wow. And it was just a moment in our life. And I think we all feel that way who are around then, is it really made you assess, we're not guaranteed any day, and we're not guaranteed tomorrow. And you better do what makes you happy now and gets going. And it was just kind of like, obviously we all were impacted by it, but it kind of lit a fire in me to live a life of purpose, and that I felt good about. And so that started my journey of entrepreneurship. My brother and I both love music and singer-songwriters and acoustic singers. I have a big passion for, and he and I kind of started this record label down in New York City promoting singer-songwriters. And I realized real quick that, singer-songwriters are notoriously shy. They are not a good voice piece for promoting themselves. So it really helped me. I kind of came in as their voice to promote them around New York City, get them on the big stages and the big platforms. And I loved it. I loved promoting other people. Thus was born, kind of my love of PR, marketing, anybody and everything that I could. And so we're going to cut way ahead to me getting married, divorced, all the things. All the things that happened in life. And while I was married and had my 2 kids, I started a children's clothing store. And again, loved the PR, the marketing of it. And when I was going through my divorce, I had to think about, how can I make this bigger? Because I was about to be put on a lot less money. A lot less money was going to be coming in. And as any entrepreneur knows, it's like, okay, what do I know how to do? Okay, I knew how to run this children's store. How can I make it bigger and better so that I have more income coming in? And so then I started opening another store out in Chicago.
Ooh.
And I realized, okay, I need to go to a place where there's more foot traffic, where I can have more inventory in a store and I can sell more inventory. And so I researched a lot of different cities. Chicago made the most sense for me for a variety of reasons. And I opened up my second one there. Long story short, had to close those because my divorce was final and I was not allowed to have them, and had to move to Florida.
Ooh.
Yes, that was not, I didn't see that one coming.
That's a huge pivot. And that's the thing. Oh my God, I'm really excited for this because I mean, it's much better looking back on it, but like huge pivots like that are like, oh boy, here comes the story now, Molly.
Well, what's so interesting in those huge pivots in life that when you're going through it, it doesn't feel very good, right?
No.
But how often do you get a chance in life to reinvent yourself?
Mm.
Right. And so, for people who are going through a divorce, which obviously is a huge life change and it's not pleasant and it's not pretty, you do get a chance to reinvent yourself, to start over and to live a life. It's different. And I'm not saying divorce is great by any stretch of the imagination, but it does give you a fresh start, a restart in your life. And, and I think that's one, silver lining of a very dark cloud. The second is, a new place, a new state. I mean, I had to literally start all over in a state where I knew nobody, not even acquaintance friend, not even like a distant family friend.
Am I allowed to ask why Florida?
Yes. So I was under the impression up until the 11th hour of our divorce that we had all agreed that I could move to Chicago with my children. That's where my store was doing the best and where I was making, the most money. And it just made sense. And my children love Chicago and I love Chicago and all the things. In the 11th hour, literally, I had enrolled my kids at school. I had found a home, et cetera. I heard from the lawyer that you are no longer able to move to Chicago, that the only place you can move to is Florida because he's opening up another branch of his business down there. And it's very inconvenient for him to try to fit Chicago in this picture and blah, blah, blah. Just to save the drama, I didn't want to put my kids through a custody trial or any of that. So I decided to not fight it. And I knew I would be able to figure it out because I was confident that I could pivot or maybe open up another retail store down there or something.
Yeah.
So I had 4 weeks where I closed my store, sold my homes, and moved to Florida.
At least it's sunny there, right?
It's sunny and there's palm trees. It could be worse, right? Could be worse. Could be Ohio. Or no, I don't want to offend anybody who's in Ohio. But it could be like,
Ohio's great, but
Ohio's beautiful.
It's just cold. That's it. That was a good catch there, Molly.
Yeah, great. Good job, Molly.
It's cold. We're both in very warm states.
All states are beautiful and fabulous. Okay. So I moved to Florida. I got my kids enrolled in school and I gave myself a buffer of a few months. And this is another important mindset shift, I think, for entrepreneurs that I had down there. First of all, I was playing victim. I was not my best self. I was definitely lost and didn't know what to do. And it took a friend of mine coming down. And I think it's very important that we all have these kind of friends in our lives who took me out to lunch and really told me what I needed to hear, not necessarily what I wanted to hear. And said, you know what, Molly, you're not living up to your potential. I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know, but you need to stop playing victim of your circumstance. And we all know what you're capable of. And I think you need to remind yourself what you're capable of. So she took a napkin. I'll never forget that. She took a napkin and she wrote out Hillen Brand Media. She goes, Molly, brand is in your name. You love promoting people and brands. That is what you're about. So everything that you're doing, everything you're about needs to be under that brand. So that was back in 2017. And that's how Hillen Brand Media was born, which was originally meant to get businesses. There's a lot of, women and moms who have like kind of a passion project that they wanted to get off the ground. And I was helping them get comfortable with being on social media and promoting and marketing, their business that way. Well, a local TV station down here, Ion, South Florida, brought me on and they wanted to expand and grow bigger too.
Yeah.
And they said, well, how do we grow bigger? What are we going to do? And I'm like, well, you need to be Ion everywhere. Because I only see things in like big picture, right? Yeah. So I said, you need to be Ion Chicago, New York, LA. You got to be everywhere. And they said, great, go do that. And so I was thrown into the fire of figuring out. They brought me on as an on-air host, which again was not a skill set that I knew how to do. But this is another mindset shift that I think is really important when opportunities come your way that you don't think are definitely or in your wheelhouse or comfort zone, is to say or go from, I don't know how to do that to, I don't know how to do that yet.
Ooh,
and when you add that one word at the end, it makes all the difference, right? Because we are so capable. We are so capable of so many things. And if someone sees something in you that they think you can do something, I bet you can do it.
I think so too.
So I said, yes, okay, I will be an on-air host. I'm going to learn how to produce these segments for you guys. And I'm going to go to New York, Chicago, and LA and get this done. And so I threw myself in that year, this is back in 2017, 18, into learning how to produce these segments and meet these entrepreneurs. And I promise I'm wrapping this up in my journey.
No, this is awesome. You've got me in. So
Okay,
I know
good.
everyone is intrigued right now.
And so, yeah, the entrepreneur journey is always very winding, right?
Yep.
So I learned very quickly, trial by fire, on how to produce, how to be an on-camera host, how to interview, all the things. But what I loved most was, these segments I was producing was all about featuring these business owners in the whatever city I was in, and their products or their business or whatever it is. So it's all very like, look at me now, look at all the success I have. But what I loved most was when the cameras were getting packed up and I was just sitting there talking to the business owner or public figure, and they were telling me the real story, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they were kind of going through their journey and the hardship and what's not working, what is working. And I'm like, man, why are we not rolling? This is the stuff that people want to hear about.
Yeah.
So after, I really thought about it, I was like, you know what? I need to create a series where we feature these amazing entrepreneurs and business owners, but we talk more about what got them there instead of where they are today, because we all see where they are today, and that's great. And we applaud all of them. But I want to inspire everyone to be that successful. I want everybody to win. And so that's what came to me creating what's called now the Spotlight series, which is what I'm filming now. And I travel all over filming amazing, successful entrepreneurs, public figures, celebrities, and business owners. But it's more about their journey. And we make it into a segment really showcasing their journey from childhood to the success of where they are now, the pivots along the way, the mindset shifts that they had to give, hopefully, the people and audience watching that aha moment that they can do it too.
Ooh, girl, I love that. And it just rings so true to me, and this story and your pivots. And that's why I love interviewing and bringing people on this podcast. And it sounds like we're just like so in sync with each other with what we're doing, or our podcast,
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that story, because it's so important to know that things don't happen overnight. Like, everyone always sees that overnight success online, but it's like years upon years.
It took me 20 years to be an overnight success. It took me 20 years. So
that should be another tagline.
Right. You can put that as your affirmation or quote.
That's so true. Like, I'm a newer entrepreneur. And when I say newer, it's been a couple years. I'm retired city fire. And it seems as though it's like, okay, I've been here for 2 years. Like, yes, I have success, but at the same time, it's like the comparison comes in. All the other things come in. Is like, am I talking to myself? But it's like, no, Lauren, like, you have all these people listening, and all these people. And that's the thing, like 20 years, and to keep going with the consistent actions and knowing that you're doing the right thing, because things don't happen overnight.
No. And where I see people get so caught up in, and is that entrepreneurship as a journey is very winding, and we're throwing darts constantly. We're trying new things constantly. And where people sometimes get so hung up is, oh my God, it's so embarrassing that didn't work out. Or, oh my gosh, people think I'm all over the place and I don't have any focus. I'm like, people don't watch you as closely as you think they are.
No, they don't.
Right. And I'm like, get over yourself. First of all, Molly, get over yourself. Right. No one's watching you as closely as you think. Like, nobody cares if it worked or not, or if it made money or not. No one even knows. What they care is that look at you go, look at you try, look at you getting out there and trying new things and doing new things. Those are the people I love to watch. I don't care about if it made money or whatever. I mean, they care, obviously, but for me, it's more inspiring to watch people doing than just thinking about it.
100%. I absolutely love that. And I love how you are so authentic, and you talk about your story, and you talk about the things that 20 years of getting here. And I absolutely love that, because there's people, being an online coach, because talking about like the journey and where we've been and what we've done. I was, for a brief period of time, coaching one-on-one, and it was very frustrating for me to have clients that were not. It's just like an instantaneous society. If they're not getting success that moment, they're like, it's not working. And I'm like, just keep going. It will happen. Just keep going. So I absolutely
we live in a world where everything is very instant, right? Everything is, raising teens during this time is almost impossible. You've given me an impossible feat of anything that I do in my life. Raising 2 teen girls in this era is the most difficult, because everything is instant gratification. You want food, you Uber Eats it. If you want, it's like, you don't have to work for anything. It's just, you have access to so much so quickly. You want something new, you Amazon it. It's like, we never had that growing up. We had to work for everything. We had to wait for things. And so I'm watching a lot of the younger people get so disappointed and give up way too easily when things don't happen immediately. And my generation, I'm in my 40s. So my generation's like, we knew that you got to kind of like work at it, and it's not going to be instant, and you have to be okay with that. And the last thing I'll say about it, because I can obviously go on tangents, is that
tangents are good. I love tangents, and they're not tangents. They're just
I'm a little
life
passionate,
stories.
if you can't tell.
Yes, I love it.
Is that, listen, we all have our end goal. We all have our why of what we're doing, and why we're doing it. Right. And I have big, lofty dreams that I want to reach. I'm not even close to them. And I look at those and I'm like, when I get to that point, which I hope I will, when I get to that lofty goal and I've reached it, how is that going to feel once I get there? And a lot of people, they don't enjoy the journey. And so when they get there, it feels very empty. And I've watched it happen to quite a few people I know, that they've reached the pinnacle of success and they got everywhere that they wanted. And they're like, wait, now what? I destroyed all my friendships along the way. I didn't enjoy myself this whole time, and I'm feeling very empty. So I just want to remind people, as you're chasing the dream and as you're going after it, make sure you're doing it in a way where you're enjoying the journey of it, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. It's because you're right. Especially, I don't have children, but raising children in a day in society like today, where everything is so instant. And I think it sounds so challenging of being like, we get to work for these things. And I think your story and what you have gone through and your pivots, I'm assuming is inspiring them to be very consistent and just keep going with the things that you want to do, because that's where you're going to get the success.
Listen, my girls at a very young age, I was going through the divorce when they were 4 and 6. And again, I had stores in different cities and I was on flights, and, it was a little cray-cray. But my kids watched me design a store, literally build it from the ground up. They were with me in the store. They were behind the cash register. They stayed with me till midnight on the days where I had to do inventory. They saw what work it takes to achieve it, that it didn't just, like, the store didn't just open itself and, magically appear. They saw the months of work leading up to even just the opening. And then once it's open, how much work it takes to sustain the store. Nothing is without work and sacrifice. And they see me. I mean, they see me work late nights. They see me get up in the morning. They see me hop on a plane when I'm exhausted, and they watch it happen. So, there's pros and cons, obviously there's been struggles, and they've watched me struggle, but they've also watched me go after something that I so believe in and so want, and the amount of effort that it takes to go after it. And so I'm hoping that sinks into them as they pursue their dreams and passions, whatever they may be.
Ooh, I love that. I mean, you're such a strong woman, and I just feel it. I just feel that your girls are going to be a huge success in an entrepreneurship. And that's the thing, is like the consistency of entrepreneurship. And I was just thinking as you were talking, and I was like, oh my God, like, if this is going to be totally another random tangent, but if the society today is so based on instant gratification, like, is the amount of entrepreneurship going to be going down because everyone thinks it's like an overnight success? So that was just a thought in my brain right now, Molly.
It's a great thought right now in your brain, because it's a question that I have as well. And especially because there's been a lot of glamorization of entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
People on the planes and the jets and the yachts, thinking that's, they're leaving their 9 to 5 thinking like, oh, I'm going to have this life of leisure. No, you're leaving a 9 to 5 for a 24/7, just so we're clear. Okay. And
1,000% agreed.
And those yachts and planes and all those people are going to be broke in a few years, because when you're a true entrepreneur and hopefully you're having success and you're making money, I can tell you, for me, I'm still putting it back in. There's no jets and yachts and any of that right now. Unless my friends have them, and then I'm happy. It's much better to have a friend with a jet or a yacht than to have your own. It's way less expensive. But no, in all honesty, in all seriousness, that a real entrepreneur is investing. I'm constantly investing in myself, in my business, growing
Agreed.
it. And so I'm never going to, like, literally when I go and spend it, and I don't get me wrong, I do splurge, right? I do have
Yeah.
moments. I'm a woman, right? Where we buy the nice
Who
shoes and the
doesn't?
nice
Yeah.
purse. But I honestly had that thought in my head as I go to purchase that item. Could I be spending this on something a little bit more that makes more sense? I'm trying to build a legacy.
Agreed.
I want to lead something for my
Yeah.
children, right? So that if they wanted to get into my industry, and if they don't, that's fine too. I want them to do whatever they want to do. There's zero force over here. But I do want to create a legacy in a business that can sustain after
Right.
I'm gone. And so me buying that purse or that shoe doesn't feel as good as me investing in something that grows my business.
This is going to be I completely agree with you. Like I don't want to say it's like, I don't know what that feeling is like, whatever that word I'm losing right now, Molly, but I have that feeling as well. It's like, should I be spending this much money or should I be investing it?
It's like buyer's remorse or guilt,
There
or
you go.
like
Guilt.
whatever
There you
that
go.
is. Guilt.
There. That was a hard word to remember. So I do have a question that just popped in my brain as well, Molly.
Sure.
Because you're talking about leaving a legacy to your girls.
Mhm.
And I guess because there's this dissonance. Well, because let me stop rambling. When I started entrepreneurship, I thought I was going to be building a brand that was named like having Lauren Glick in that name, right? And I've been doing a lot of self-assessment of building a brand that has nothing to do with me. And I'm behind the scenes, which I'm doing as well, but also having me and like unstoppable confidence, me, where it's like me being face forward. And it doesn't have to be related to you or not, Molly, but have you ever thought, well, it is totally related to you, but have you ever had the thought of, or what are your thoughts on building a brand that's like you as face forward compared to building a brand like your marketing brands? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Great question. And it is something that I think about. It's like, how much of me do I need to put out there versus the spotlight that I'm putting on others, right?
Yeah.
So when I think of my spotlight series, I'm not in it, right? I'm behind the camera. I'm producing it. And so I have a producer hat on. There's none of me. It's not like the Molly and So show. It's the person's show. And I'm just here to produce them, to put the spotlight on them. And I think that's really, really important. However, a lot of the way that I'm able to get people to say yes to me is because I've made my own personal brand, and I am making sure that, I have a friend, Dominique Murphy, who, and I'm going to butcher this. She says it way better than I do, but basically she says something about like, you being out there equals credibility. Right. And when people see you and they recognize you and you consistently deliver on what you say you can deliver, it creates that trust factor, and people want to work with you because you consistently execute at a certain level. And so that part is important to me, that I am a person of my word, that what I say I do, I actually do, and that what I say I can execute on, I execute on. And so I do think it's important for you to be the face of your brand, for people to get to know the why behind your product, your business, why it matters to you, because there's nothing better as a salesperson than hearing it from the person and the voice of the person who created it, and to hear their passion, because it makes me excited. When I hear someone excited about their business, their project, their scope of whatever they're doing, I get excited and I want to be a part of that, because if I'm going to feel how you feel, then I'm in. And so I do absolutely think that it is important to let people know who's behind the business and what they're about, because I also think it creates long-term loyalty of the people who follow you and listen to you. So whatever new initiatives I do going forward, whatever I'm releasing next or doing next, people are going to be into it because of me and because they've been following me and I've been consistent and I've executed consistently. And I just think that's really, really important. But again, what I produce has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the people that I'm producing it for.
Oh, I love that hindsight or that thought process as well. You made some really good points there, Molly. And because I've been like toying with like, am I too face forward with everything? But you made so many good points. So Thank you for that, Molly. And okay, here comes the questions, because everyone knows that I absolutely love inspiration and I think everyone should have a mentor. And I do think podcasts and books are always mentors as well. So, number one question, Molly, is what is one of your favorite podcasts? And I know we all listen to a lot, but what is one that you're really jazzed about right now that gives you some inspiration and motivation for your entrepreneurship?
So there's a lot that I
Yeah.
listen to. There's a lot that I listen to because, as I said in the beginning, I'm really cautious about what I allow enter my brain and the positivity and inspirational people. So Emily Lyons has a Mind Your Business podcast, which is really great. And I think for entrepreneurs, especially, definitely check that one out. Danielle Passy has a podcast called Balance City, and she's an incredible interviewer of entrepreneurs as well. And those are the first two that kind of pop off on my head. I also listen to a lot of comedy. And so I also think we need like some mental break every now and then.
Can you give me one of those? Give me one of those.
I'm a big fan of Heather McMahon, and she just makes me laugh.
I've
and
never heard of her.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. You guys, she is so funny. It just makes me laugh. And I think laughter is huge in our very stressful lives. And I try to find something to laugh about every day, and her podcast will help you there. So those are a few that
I'm going to have to check.
Recommend. Oh, she's funny. Yeah.
Those last two I hadn't heard about. So I'm super stoked about them. Because usually people, in the network online, I have people in the same network. So it's like, I always hear the same ones. So Molly, I loved those. Gonna go check them out.
Good. Awesome.
And then book, like what is a nonfiction book that is one of your favorites, or you just started to, just finished? What is your favorite nonfiction?
So I am a big fan of, like, I can't get enough of like biographies, documentaries. Like I'm like obsessed with learning people's stories. Clearly you are. I mean, we all are, right? And so a book that I read that was really inspirational for me personally was May Musk, Elon Musk's mom, wrote her story, which is A Woman Makes a Plan. And she is a single mom as well, who raised these 3 children. Now we hear about Elon a lot, right? But her other 2 children are incredibly successful entrepreneurs, each in very different industries. But we don't hear as much about them, which we should, because they're incredible. So she raised these 3 incredible entrepreneurs who've had a lot of success as a single mom, traveling all over. She was like the OG entrepreneur, just so everybody knows. Okay, she had a nutrition business before that was even like a thing.
Wow.
Way back in the day. Everyone needs to follow her on Instagram, May Musk, and she is stunning. She's in like fashion shows. She's 74 years old. I got the opportunity to work with her a little bit, and she said, and she says this in her book, and she says this often, that she was 73 at the time. She goes, "This is the best year of my life." And I remember thinking to myself, man, if I can get to 73 and say, this is the best year of my life, I'm like, I have the best is yet to come. Like I haven't even reached my potential or reached the best years of my life. And what an amazing thought that is to know that like your best years are still ahead. And so I'm constantly thinking about her and her book and her story as I go and live my life. It's like, I want to be May Musk when I grow up, right? And so it's like, I want to feel that way and live in my 70s as if those are the best years of my life.
Ooh, I love that, Molly. And I didn't even dawn on me that Elon Musk has a mom.
Right? It's like, guess who taught Elon Musk everything he knows? Okay. No,
and it might be his mom. That's so interesting. Never thought about that. I'm going to have to go check that out. And you just actually made me think about something else. I mean, I don't really read autobiographies enough. I read a lot of self-development and
and I read those too. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting because I've had a couple other guests talk about other autobiographies that I was like, oh, wow, that might be interesting. So thank you so much for that, because I think it's going to get me into really learning, because I love talking to people and hearing about what made them get to where they're at. So I love that point as well, Molly. So I'm going to have to go check that one out, because I think entrepreneurship is such an interesting field, and we're all like up and down. And really, just to like wrap this interview up in a bow, like I really think that being around really positive people and getting around those people that are going to help lift you up when you're struggling. I think that's really important. Is there anything before we get to how do we find you? How do we work with you? Is there any last thoughts you want to wrap up today's conversation with?
Well, just to add on to what you were just saying, I can't emphasize the importance of the people that I have in my life. When I turned 40 years old, I kind of did like a life audit. And I know that sounds like cheesy and whatever, but I really did. And I think it's really important the energy of the people that you surround yourself with, that you have true cheerleaders in your corner, because life is tough.
Oh yeah.
Life is tough. Entrepreneurship is tough. Parenthood is tough. And I am so lucky and thankful for the people who I have in my corner who are cheering me on, who don't let me stay stuck. As I said, my friend with the napkin, right? Yeah. They don't let me stay stuck too long. And, I'm someone who, with a friend, it's okay to have a pity party for yourself when things go bad, because I think it's okay to feel those feelings for a little bit, but you can't stay there too long. So make sure that you have those people in your life that take you out of that and keep you at your full potential. I think that's incredibly important.
I love it, Molly. You literally embody inspiration and motivation. Like I could just feel your energy, and I am so stoked to get to know you a little bit better. So thank you for being here today. And I know the listeners feel the same way. Like there's no way that they don't. So how do people find you? How do people work with you? All the good things.
So I am on Instagram. I live on Instagram. I live there. My house is there. You can send for my things.
You're in the metaverse. I have not touched the metaverse. I don't know.
I don't know either. I feel like I need to figure it out, but I'm not there yet.
No.
But no, I'm at Molly Dare, and then you can find all my businesses Instagrams and all the podcast Instagrams on there too. But at Molly Dare is my personal. It has everything. Also, if you're interested in the Spotlight series and my podcast or being a guest on either, you can go to mollydare.com, and that has everything that I do: the Spotlight series, the podcast, my shop. I've got a jewelry line coming out. I've got all the things. So if you want like a one-stop shop.
Yes. I absolutely wearing it right now. Jewelry. It's so funny because before this interview, I was like, shoot, I don't have my earrings in. I don't have my makeup on. And I was like, whatever, I'm just going.
Whatever, we're just going to go with it. I don't have mine on either. So
I love jewelry.
But no, I'm releasing a cuff line because I love feeling like Wonder Woman. And I wish I had them on right now so I could show you. But they say fear less, not fearless, because I believe that we're never without fear, but we can learn to fear less and to use it for our advantage. And so it says fear less. And then of course, daring, because it's my name. And their cuffs, they're gold and silver, and anyway.
I love gold.
So those will be coming out soon as well, but that will all be at mollydare.com.
That's interesting because I was looking at your Instagram and I saw your cuffs and I was like, those are really cute. Why is she showing them off like that? Okay, that all makes sense.
Now it makes sense.
I absolutely love jewelry. I'm like one of those girls that wears their Lulu all the time, but like doused in jewels. So
exactly.
Absolutely love it, Molly. So if you want to go check out Molly's podcast, her brand company, her new jewelry line, so stoked on that. Go check her out at Molly Dare on Instagram. And on that, I'm going to go check out. Is there like a launch date for your jewelry line?
We are there any day now. The final prototypes are being sent to me. And as long as they come arriving looking like they're supposed to look, then we do the mass orders and we'll be pre-ordering. So hopefully soon. I mean, literally I'm waiting any day for the delivery of them so I can give the final.
I'm like really excited about your jewelry line.
I'm excited about it too.
Well, Molly, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I love your energy and I know the listeners love it too, because you just embody motivation. So thank you again for being here and inspiring everyone listening, and that is me included. So thank you again for being here, Molly.
Thank you so much.
Of course. And for everyone listening, have a good one, and we'll talk to you on the next episode. I hope you are so excited about where you're going, because I know I'm excited for you. Thank you so much for listening in today. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you shared it with a girlfriend or posted it on social media. Tag me so I could personally say thank you. I am so grateful. And until next time,